Hello friends and welcome back. This video is titled "She Thought Nobody Was Looking When the Camera Caught Her in the Act." Let's get into this. She quickly pulled out her phone and began recording her. She needed proof. Laura Wolf frequently visited the Waffle House, but she had never seen anything out of the ordinary there. The staff was always polite and friendly, and the food was delicious. That day, however, she caught the waitress doing something to an elderly customer's food, and when she realized what it was, she was at a loss for words. Before messing with the customer's food, the waitress looked around the room to ensure nobody was watching and then began to poke around the plate. She had no idea that Laura had been watching her the entire time. 18-year-old Yvonne Williams had been working as a server at the Lamarck, Texas Waffle House for several years. She worked long hours to save money to pay for her college tuition. But some days were harder than others. She never expected that what she did that day to her customers' food would have such extensive consequences. This particular shift was incredibly stressful for Yvonne. The Waffle House was packed with guests stopping in for some breakfast and coffee. Before we continue, if you like this video, please like or subscribe. We'd greatly appreciate it. Now back to the video. The restaurant was understaffed, and she struggled to get orders out on time. Adrian Charpentier was sitting close to Laura, but she didn't know who he was at the time. Adrian had quite a reputation among the servers in town. He even earned a nickname. Laura noticed him lean over to Yvonne and whisper something in her ear. Yvonne was listening to what he was saying so attentively that she didn't hear the cook calling for her. Laura observed the elderly man and noticed that he was having difficulties with breathing and was hooked up to an oxygen tank. Yvonne leaned closer to hear what he was saying. "Can you say it again?" she asked the man. "I can't hear you well." But then, something happened that would change her life forever. The cook was still yelling for her from the kitchen, but she ignored him. Then, suddenly, she pulled Adrian's plate of ham over to her side of the counter. What she would do next would shock Laura to the core. She had never seen a server behave this way before. Laura wanted to know what the elderly gentleman said to Yvonne that made her act this way. She quietly pulled out her phone and began to record the waitress. She made sure her flash was off before taking a few photos of Yvonne that would soon make her famous. So what had happened? Laura later explained why she was so interested in what Yvonne was doing. It was so busy in here, and she actually took the time to stop and hear what he had to say instead of walking past him. "That just meant something to me," she told KHOU-TV. Soon, Laura would make sure the whole world would know what Yvonne did to the elderly man's food. The man also watched his waitress's actions intently. He didn't understand what she was doing at first. Yvonne poked around in his plate and then slid it back over to him. She looked happy and relieved. Then, the man said something that made Laura emotional. Laura looked at the photos she had just taken and uploaded the best one on Facebook. She wanted everyone to know what she had just witnessed at the Waffle House. As she asked the server for the bill, her phone began to beep. Laura's post instantly went viral, and Yvonne was now Facebook famous. But what the young waitress didn't know was that a few other patrons had recorded her actions that day, too. "I don't know her name, but I heard this elderly man tell her his hands don't work too good. He was also on oxygen and struggling to breathe." Without hesitation, she took his plate and began cutting up his ham, Laura wrote. "This may seem small, but to him, I'm sure it was huge. I'm thankful to have seen this act of kindness and caring at the start of my day while everything in this world seems so negative. If we could all be like this waitress and take time to offer a helping hand." Yvonne didn't think what she had done that day was anything special. It all came naturally to her. She wasn't aware that she was being recorded either. The guests and the diner's security camera had caught everything. When Yvonne was done tampering with the man's food, he looked at her and said, "My hands don't work too good." Laura felt tears rolling down her face when she heard the elderly customer say those words to the waitress. She felt sorry for him. Then, she watched Yvonne as she cut up his food into small pieces. Laura was so touched that she just had to share it on social media. But what did the people think? Without hesitation, she took his plate and began cutting up his ham, Laura wrote in her post. "This may seem small, but to him, I'm sure it was huge. I'm thankful to have seen this act of kindness and caring at the start of my day while everything in this world seems so negative. So far, Laura's post has received 99,000 likes and 47,000 shares. Everyone agreed that what the waitress had done deserved some recognition. Laura's post had even caught the eye of Bobby Hocking, the mayor of La Marque. He showed up at the restaurant and surprised Yvonne with a huge check. Yvonne couldn't believe her eyes when she saw the number written on the check. It was enough to cover her college tuition. The $16,000 check was from Texas State University. It was a scholarship for Yvonne to attend classes there. During an interview, Yvonne explained that she had helped the elderly gentleman that morning because she could see that he needed help and it had just been the right thing to do. She didn't expect any reward or recognition for it. But when the 18-year-old saw the check, she burst into tears of joy. Her manager felt so proud of her. Yvonne, however, thinks what she did was a small gesture that is not worth mentioning. Adrien Charpentier, also known as Mr. Karaoke in his town, had been battling health issues recently. He explained to Yvonne that the past month had been especially difficult for him as he had been in and out of the hospital. It started with pneumonia, Mr. Karaoke told ABC News. I can hold a fork fine and dandy, but to cut it looks like I'm going to stab somebody. Adrien began to struggle with simple tasks such as brushing his teeth and cutting up his food. Fortunately, Yvonne knew precisely how she could help him. I was just like, sure. If you need help, that's what I am here for, Yvonne said in an interview. My cook was calling my name to pick up food I had on the board, but I continued to cut his ham. It's just something I would do for anybody. Adrien appreciated her kind gesture more than she knew. It means a lot. I need help, and the waitresses issue it to me, he explained. People from all over the world couldn't get enough of Laura's post. But how did the mayor hear about the story? Somebody tagged me, and it immediately. It just touched my heart. It's so wonderful that the younger generation cares about the older generation, Bobby Hocking recalls. There is a lot of love in La Marque, Texas, and we intend to perpetuate that. Yvonne's important gesture towards an elderly customer touched his heart so much that he decided to surprise her in the best way possible. He declared that every year, March 8th is Yvonne Williams Day. It is awesome. I feel excited and happy, Yvonne said. We wanted to reward Yvonne's act of kindness and let her know that good deeds do not go unnoticed, said Melinda Spalding, an administrator at Texas Southern University. She has the character of the type of students we want at Texas Southern University. Do you think Yvonne deserved recognition for her actions? That's the end of this video. Thank you for watching. As always, if you like this video, please like, comment, or subscribe, and we'll see you in our next video.